This is an update on the Powell family in Canada. If you want the short and sweet version, I recommend you check out our newsletter. If, however, you really want to know what's up with our ministry in Canada, keep watching. I'll start off by saying that we have a lot to be thankful for, and our story continues to be a story of what God has done, because much of what is happening is outside our ability to control, but it has worked to advance God's glory anyways. I'm going to talk about the past 6 months in an overview level to show how God has provided and what I've had the privilege of working on since arriving in Canada. Our home is here in Owen Sound, Ontario, a beautiful Georgian Bay community a few hours north of Toronto, the biggest city in Canada. We live and minister at Word of Life, which is a Bible institute and campground. I was asked to come be an engaged missionary, a point person for connecting with and ministering directly to pastors here in southern Ontario. Secondly, I was asked to be the camp director for Recharge, the annual snow camp held here on the Word of Life property. I honestly didn't know what to expect coming up here, but only by God's sovereignty was I prepared to face what has been handed to me over the past 6 months. I would be amiss if I didn't mention how us getting to Canada in the first place was basically a miracle. We crossed the border into Canada on August 25th, 2020. While we were driving up towards Buffalo, New York, where the border is, it seems like we only had about a 50% chance that the border guards would deem us essential enough to allow us to actually cross. Through godly counsel and guidance, we believe that this was the wisest decision we could make. And God gave us grace at the border, and we were allowed entry. Now, of course, we immediately did have some tests of faith and patience, including a flat tire, complications with our moving company, messed up immigration paperwork. But again, grace was given for each of those circumstances as well. If you haven't heard the story of all of that, linked below is my video where I talk about that. It's pretty great. But what about since then? Well, I've been working at both the Engage and Recharge ministry as I planned. So Engage started by taking some road trips with my directors accompanying me on most of them so that one of them could personally introduce me to a lot of the longtime ministry partners that we have here in southern Ontario. Now, despite some of the COVID restrictions, we would travel sometimes up to 3 hours away to have real face-to-face conversations. My leadership believes that genuine in-person relationship building is a key to our ministry, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. So to accomplish this task, I have at my disposal a wonderful ministry vehicle, which is a 2020 Dodge Grand Caravan, to take me wherever I need to go, and it's been very useful. At the same time as starting Engage, it was also time to start planning for Recharge. And what a crazy rise it has been. So typically, Recharge is 6 to 7 weekends in a row during February and March, and it's full of crazy snow-filled camp activities and gospel message-focused rallies. Because the entire point is that we want all the campers to take their next step in their relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, right away, as we were planning, it was clear that with COVID, we wouldn't really be able to have camp normally. So I worked with my core team, Sam and Laura, who are amazing, by the way, and we came up with an altered program that worked as a day camp instead of a full weekend, because there was just no way to social distance while housing 90 campers overnight on a weekend here on our property. That was our plan for about the first month of preparation until the government restrictions tightened even more. Then there was a day, pretty much all at once, we just came to the conclusion. We wouldn't be able to have Recharge on our property, not with the government restrictions in place. So one of my teammates asked the question, is it possible for us to do Recharge virtually? So this is where God's providence comes in big time. You see, my family's internship in Poland was largely spent with me working in media. In early 2020, while we were in North Carolina, I got the privilege of helping our home church to transition to doing virtual services. So during that time, even though that's not what I was planning on doing necessarily, I acquired the skills and experience along the way that gave me just what I needed to think about making a snow camp into a virtual camp. So that's a God thing right there. We decided that Recharge was going to be a virtual camp. We sat down and we had to put aside nearly everything that we knew or had planned for Recharge and started from scratch. But the results so far have been encouraging. So I want to be clear that while I have been able to come up with many aspects of Recharge Online, most of the actual work is being done by other people. Like we have Rebecca, who is our promotion coordinator, Zach, who is a skilled videographer. He's much better than me. Laura is the camp secretary. Sam is a ministry coordinator. Without them and quite a few other people, this would have been impossible. What I have done, mostly, is come up with the games, activities, and schedule for the program. I have also figured out the streaming platform and registration system for people being able to attend, and also make it so that they can have meaningful interaction the whole time during the event. I got then to audition and invite our Bible Institute students to be a part of different ministry teams that are responsible for the different parts of the event. I specifically am leading the program team and also the music team. Now, in the music team, by the way, I am not a musician, at all. So if you've done ministry with me before and you are raising an eyebrow at me leading a praise team, I would not blame you. But it has been working well because, number one, I am not singing or playing any instrument. Number two, the music team is very talented. And three, we are actually making music videos because it's a virtual camp instead of doing live worship, and music video is something that I have done before. So that is what ministry has looked like up until about December. Oh, and also I finished my bachelor's degree. I'm super happy about that. That was a long time coming. So while meeting with pastors has been a little slow because of the extra work Recharge has taken, there was pretty good progress on all fronts. And I was looking forward to February 13th when Recharge Online would be done. But then the lockdown happened. You see, the day after Christmas, Premier Ford issued a stay-at-home order that closed all non-essential businesses and limited travel to basically groceries and healthcare in all of Ontario. We couldn't really do anything. So instead of everyone coming home from vacation at the beginning of January, all the employees have to work remotely, and the students got an extra long vacation and then had to start doing classes online. So these kinds of restrictions made traveling to meet pastors basically impossible. And while I did have a few Zoom meetings with pastors, that was not the way that we were wanting to build relationships, and pastors really have not been interested in doing that either. So Recharge is a virtual event, but the preparation for it is very in-person. We had to stop a lot of our plans to finish the preparation, and eventually we realized that we just had to move the dates for the event all the way back to March. And today when I'm recording this, is finally the day when all of the staff and students are actually able to come back to property. So it's been a pretty hard time working at a distance and figuring these things out. But here is another amazing story that God did something in the midst of this. So when we rescheduled our camps to the end of March, I made a mistake. I had a miscommunication with the rental facility that we were going to be using for streaming the event. They were unable to host us for one of the weekends that we had advertised. And so I'm sitting and I'm pulling my hair out, trying to figure out what to do. And Megan says to me, "Ben, what if God allowed this to happen because he has a better place for you that you wouldn't have looked for?" And that is exactly what happened. So, after asking around, a generous member of our church is letting us use their office space for free. And it is perfect for what we need for streaming our program. And unless we had had this miscommunication, this mistake with the other rental facility, we never would have even looked for it. So, praise God for that. Also, there were 2 other projects that I was able to work on while everyone was working remotely. I worked with another group of people, and we worked to modernize our registration and record keeping with online forms and also a CRM. And I was also able to make a cool platform. Well, I used a platform called GatherTown. I was able to make a digital virtual reconstruction of our school campus for our students to use and interact with while they were doing remote education. So giving them another way to interact besides Zoom. So ministry-wise, that brings us to where we are today. Now, things are ramping up here now that people are coming back. Today is a national holiday in Canada, so I thought that I would take the opportunity to give a more in-depth update to you all. So I would ask you guys to please pray for the ability to connect with pastors, as this lockdown has been really hard on them and their ability to minister to their churches, and makes it harder for us to be in connection with them as well. I also would like to ask all of you to pray about people hearing about and attending Recharge Online. We are praying that God is going to give us 1,000 campers who are going to attend this online event and hear the gospel preached, and praying that they will choose to take their next step in their relationship with Jesus Christ. But that is something that is really, we are relying on God to bring in those people. So we're doing everything that we can to promote it. The team's doing a good job, but many people are just tired of virtual anything at this point in time. So that would be really appreciated if you guys will pray for that. I also want to just say I really appreciate everyone giving their prayer and their financial support of this ministry. None of this would be possible without our team behind us, and I think that the testimony of how things have been going is really a testament to that. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment in this video, or that you can just reach out to us through Messenger or email. If you want to know when these videos are coming out without having to rely on Facebook, you can go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel this video is on, and that is another way you can keep up to date with any more updates like this one. You can also check out the link in the description for our missionary page. That's where you can sign up for our newsletter, see our testimonies, and even become a financial supporter if that is something you believe God is leading you to do. But that is all for now. Thank you for listening, and God bless.